Okay, this is Eric Hoffer, and he is discussing the benefits of a learning society from the book In Our Time. What is a good society for Hoffer? Hoffer argues, to me, a good society is a society in which most people have the desire and the opportunities to learn and grow. So that's central for Hoffer, this idea of learning and growth. It's a society in which schools produce not learned but learning people. So that's going to be big for Hoffer. This idea of a learned people that kind of they've reached the kind of finish line and they have difficulty adapting or change, right? Versus learning people who can spontaneously adapt to change. Uh, Hoffer continues, he says, it's a society in which people have neither the time nor the inclination to exploit or oppress or otherwise harm their fellow men. How will a learning society foster talent? Hoffer asserts, moreover, it's reasonable to expect that in a learning society, not only will there be a gap between generations, but people of different capacities and bents will come together, commune with, emulate, and encourage each other, and thus create an optimal milieu for the realization of talents. So the optimal milieu means the kind of ideal environment for creating the capacities of talent and development. And so this idea that if we're kind of hanging out with people of various skill levels and what he calls different capacities and bents, right, a wide variety of people who like will emulate and encourage. I mean, I think that's the important point too. Emulate means to kind of pattern or mimic, to kind of copy. And I mean, encouragement's very important as well for the development of talent. So uh, he wants this kind of group environment to kind of create this optimal environment or milieu which will realize talent. Learning society would have a decided advantage in what sort of time? Well, what he's going to say is that a learning society has the advantage when it comes to kind of adapting in a spontaneous manner to change over a learned society which is sort of fixed and dilated. So here's what he says. He says it's indeed remarkable how many of our present difficulties would be mitigated or even removed in a learning society. It's plausible, for instance, that a learning society would have a decided advantage in a time of rapid change. While the learned usually find themselves equipped to live in a world that no longer exists, the learner adjusts himself readily to all sorts of conditions. The learned during rapid change usually find themselves equipped to live in what kind of world? Well, we already said this. He says it's plausible, for instance, that a learning society would have a decided advantage in a time of rapid change. While the learned usually find themselves equipped to live in a world that no longer exists, the learner adjusts himself readily to all sorts of conditions. To learn is to blank, and those who blank do not blank old. To learn is to grow, and those who grow do not grow old. What a bold and beautiful assertion that is, right? Would only it be true, right? To learn is to grow, and those who grow do not grow old. I mean, maybe there's something there that when we kind of stop learning, that's when we stop growing. That's when we really begin to grow old and rot.